Hey, this is Mr. Ward, and I'm doing a video key for Do Now 19.3D. And so I just want to remind you all, have you checked your levels data sheet lately? If not, please go do that now. So you may already be doing that. You may have forgotten where it is, so you should let me know. Hopefully you bookmarked it, but if you forgot that you bookmarked it or you never got to bookmarking it, this will be your opportunity to do so. You maybe you had the bookmark and you're going to use it for a change. You should use it all the time. Okay, so in the equation y minus 9 equals negative 3/4 x plus 5, what is one point we could plot immediately? And the point we could plot immediately comes from the x minus the x value and the y minus a y value. Well, that says x plus 5. Well, that's the same as x minus negative 5. So there is an x value at negative 5 and a y value at 9. Now, in 1b, it of course reveals that the point was negative 5, 9. It's here that x plus 5 came from just a x minus negative 5. That's the same dang thing. And so that's why x plus 5 leads you to an x value of negative 5. And now the slope is negative 3/4, which means a rise of negative 3 and a run of 5. That rise is really like a fall. So let's see if we can identify a second point on a line. And I think the thing to do for that is to actually go over here into Desmoslandia. And let's do that. Desmos into Desmoslandia. So, okay. Clearly, it objects to something I've done here. Call that negative 3/4. Maybe it'll be happy now. No, it doesn't like my parentheses. That's what it doesn't like. There. Okay, so we know that there's going to be a point at negative 5, comma 9. And we also know, so let's find that point, negative 5, comma 9. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that. Now, maybe out a hair. Yeah, there. So now the grid is in ones instead of halves. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that slope, which is negative 3/4, and we'll go down 3. It's a fall of 3, so minus 3, and over 4. So we should have a point right here. That's plus 4. In case you can't read that, that's supposed to say negative 3. I'll make it a little clearer. Okay, so that's one way we could go. So we should have a point here at negative 1, 6. So there's probably a point at negative 1, 6. So I'm going to call that negative 1, 6. Let's remind ourselves that that should be a point. And then we can also go the other way. Pick a different color. We can go up 3 and then back 4. Okay, so we should also have a point here, which would be at negative 9, positive 11. So negative 9, positive 11. So we ought to have another point like that. So what I did was I went down 3 and over 4, and then I went up 3. And I'm actually made a mistake there. It should be up to 12, not to 11. Some of you are like, Mr. Ward. Yes, that should be here at negative 9, positive 12. So let's test that out. So over here, I can actually use the slope. I've got negative 5, comma 9. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 3 from 9, and I will add 4 to negative 5. And I will do this. I'll do that in reverse. Okay, so here I'm going to add 3 and subtract 4, because 3 divided by negative 4 is the same as negative 3 divided by positive 4. So let's work out what that is. Oh, look, it tells us negative 1, 6. And here, I'll erase some stuff so you can see that better. Negative 1, 6. And negative 9, 12. And we can, of course, calculate it right here, and you will find out that, so that Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. And 9 minus 3 is 6. And negative 5 minus 4 is going to be negative 9 because you started at negative 5 and you went 4 more down. And 9 plus 3 is 12. And so there you have the 3 points that we can test out. Let's see if that worked. And it totally did. Totally went through those 3 points. You only needed 2. A third one is helpful, but you only need 2 points and a straight edge to make a line. So now let's take a look here. Let me go ahead and put those points in here. We have negative 1, comma 6. And we also have negative 9, comma 12. Those were the other points, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, they were. Those were the other points. So there you have it. So if you found negative 1, 6 and negative 9, 12, you nailed it. Notice I put an answer key right there in the do now. And now let's take a look at 7x minus 4y equals 56. What are 2 points we could identify? Well, we could identify an x-intercept by making y into 0. So then we'd only care about 7x equals 56. If we only care about 7x equals 56, then x has to be 56 over 7, because that's what would happen if we divide both sides by 7. So we should have an x-intercept at 56 over 7, comma 0, and 56 over 7 is 8. And then we should have a y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is when x is 0. So we just have negative 4y equals 56. So the y-intercept should end up being, we don't care about x when x is 0. So 7x goes away, and we're left with negative 4y equals 56. So it's going to be a y-intercept at 0, comma 56 over negative 4. And 56 over negative 4, we can reduce into negative 14. Okay, and so that is a second point on that line. And we can go over here to Desmos and confirm that. Okay, and plop that in here. Okay, I'm going to graph that. So here it goes through 8, 0, and down here it goes through 0, negative 14. So plot those two intercepts. Now, you might notice it goes up to the right, so that means it's going to have a positive slope. The other one went down to the right, that had a negative slope. So when you calculate this with those intercepts, which are 8, comma 0 and 0, comma negative 14, so you know the vertical change is either positive or negative 14. The horizontal change is either 8 or negative 8. Since we know the thing is positive, we can dispense with all of that, all that worrying about getting the sign wrong. And we can just say 14 over 8 is our slope, and we know it's positive, and so that will work. So this a change of vertical change of 14 or negative 14, a horizontal change of 8 or negative 8, depending on which way you go. So we have a slope of 14 over 8, which we can simplify to, or reduce, I should say, to 7 over 4. 1.75, but 7 over 4 is the slope. So let's go in here and work out that slope. That slope should be positive 7 over 4. All right, I hope that was helpful, and I'll stop